The other thing I noticed about because again I had limited exposure, but I noticed especially during the H-1B discourse is that Indians really fucking hate white people, and I don't. There are definitely black people who really fucking hate white people, but I think as like a baseline, they don't really. They kind of just have come to terms that we just like sit together like oil and water, and we just kind of avoid each other. And obviously there's outliers to this, but I think like Indians literally just want me to fucking die, is and the sooner the better, you know.
Yeah, they are
Their
weird
culture.
about that. They're kind of all
Yeah,
about like Hindu superiority or not Hindu supremacy, I guess. I don't know what's
yeah,
up.
their parents kind of like ingrain a superiority complex into them, which is crazy considering like their culture is like 50, almost 50% of the, 250 million households like shit in the streets openly. But yeah, they grow up and they kind of instill in them like a superiority complex over like the West or any other place really.
Yeah, it's just all the
What
more
I saw that made
reason.
me laugh. Sorry, just but there was like a tweet chain about like weird shit you can find on Indian Amazon, and one of them was just like compressed dried poo cakes for something literally called the puja that apparently is a part of their rituals, and it's literally just called puja. But you need the cow dung because cow dung is one of the five things that cows make. That's like a thing, and it's right next to urine and like butter and dairy, and it's like there's like the five holy things that a cow produces. This is poop. So when you do a puja, you need poo to do it. Ironically, because it's not etymologically related. It's just that's just how it fell. And then someone called that disgusting, and then a Hindi was replying and said, "Well, you know that Westerners eat pork." I'm like, "You're supposed to." But they were trying to literally compare eating pork as so disgusting that it's compared to eating cow shit or washing your house in cow shit as like a ritual.
Yeah, or gore haba, like where they like fling shit at each other and smear themselves in it, like the entire village during that. Like they just have a giant shit fight.
Yeah, I saw something on Reddit. I saw like a Reddit post the other day about like did they do some weird ritual when they buy like a product or something like an expensive thing? They smear like mud, like a swastika, like a Hindu, like a classic Hindu swastika on like their. It was on a Tesla. It was really weird. They have like weird customs like that. I think it's like bless. I think what it was to like just bless the object. I don't know. It's bizarre. It's some bizarre shit, man.
Well, when they buy a new home, they literally rinse it in cow poo to like bless the home. They imagine this: you have a brand new home, you just built it. It's your new is where you're gonna live. Well, the first thing we got to do is we got to get a metric ton of cow shit, and we got to like slosh that around on every surface. Like it's disgusting. It's like cult, and it's so weird because before like recent times, people always held India up as this beautiful place with this beautiful culture and religion. It's just like they Buddhism is like this esoteric thing that people really held in high esteem, and now people look at it and they're like, oh, they like bathe in cow shit.
Yeah, it's nasty, man. That's probably why they stink. Jesus, fucking disgusting, repulsive. Stand. They've also
Somebody has to
taken over.
stand.
They've also, I've noticed, taking over truck driving, which is a bit bizarre. You see a lot of them driving trucks, and apparently they have like a really high fatality rate for killing people in these giant 18 wheelers.
They
Obviously, not
drink.
a good idea. Yeah, they get drunk, DUIs,
The
and they'll just
commercial
give.
limit for driving is 0.00. You can't have any
Yes.
alcohol and drive a semi. But it's like doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, if you get a DUI, you have a CDL, yeah, you're kind of fucked. You're never driving again, at least for like 10 years. And rightfully so, obviously, getting a DUI, that's some dumb, retard shit. Who else is joining? We got a lot of people in here so far, almost 200 now joining. See, we got Sean from what was it, Politically Criminal. I'll make him a speaker if you want to talk.
Potentially criminal.
Potentially, I'm sorry. I'm kind of out of it. Oh my god, I'm kind of out of
Throw
it
some
today, guys. I'm
respect
sorry.
on the name.
I've had a long, weekend. I've
Yeah.
had to get. I wanted to get home yesterday, but like I said, shit, ran over a giant log, fucked up my car. I was kind of stranded in another state. So that was not fun. It took me a while to get home. Car's going to need some work. It is what it is, though. You get through it. Shit happens, you know. All right, let me cue. Also, make Sprite if he wants to. I don't know if he'll talk, though. Why not? Try to find people. Oh, is it working?
India really in and of itself though is kind of like a modern hellscape. I mean, there's more people with phones in India than they have like toilets. Like more of their citizens have mobile phones, cell phones than they have like actual toilets. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's a nasty. Would not want to live there. I'll just say that. I saw you were
Imagine
playing like a
this.
game on the site, Josh. Pindia, like opening up Google Maps and finding shit on the street. If you can just randomly find shit on the street, that was fucking hilarious. That was a fun game.
Yeah, it was like a poll post where it's like try to drop a pin on Street View anywhere in India and see if there's garbage. And it's honestly very difficult. And it's not just like a little bit of trash. It's like especially near any kind of water feature, they love to just dump literal trash bags of garbage in all their drinking water. And I don't understand. Don't understand that at all.
Yeah, it's just it's nasty. Yeah, it's very like it's
There-
wonder how many of them. It's wonder how they don't die like immediately from all the illness they carry. They must have
yeah,
like
it's a
a
good
really
question. Maybe cow poo is a panacea, and that's, that's the
maybe they're
most
just so
likely
used to
answer.
it, their immune system is just like built up higher. I don't know. Maybe it is supreme. I don't know. Not really, obviously.
Ignorant white boys could never understand the healing powers of cow poo. It's written in the Bhagavad Gita, you fucking ignorant hicks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just nasty. I couldn't imagine wanting to be anywhere near that shit. Like it just smells so bad. It's awful. Why would you want to be anywhere near cow shit? Like, come on.
Even their
Well, some,
workforce too, like the top 20 of their industries in India rank in like the bottom 20 of like the global empathy index. So like they just treat everyone like utter garbage too. Like there's a lot of different stuff with India, but it just sucks.
there's actually a story with that where it's like in their culture where if you treat people with respect, you show that you're like a peer, and if you're their boss or whatever, you have to show that you're superior to them. And the way that they do that in their culture is that they purposefully waste your time, they purposefully disrespect you, and they purposefully fuck around with you just to show like how the hierarchy is. And it's kind of like I guess we're just gonna make fun of Indians, but like in it's like a thing like in jail, like when you have all the black guys in jail, they like start fucking with each other just to see like who's the bitch in jail. And it's like that, I guess, but like in Indian culture where the boss has to make sure that you know he's the boss by deliberately making your life worse than it needs to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
really
couldn't
don't think it's
imagine
even a
wanting to working under these people as like a white guy. Oh my god. I think I might just kill myself. So if I had to do that, I don't think I could take it. If that was like the only option available, where it's just to the point where it's just Indians that are like working for all these tech companies and stuff. Yeah, it's not ideal. And it would be hard to anyways because they hire their own people first and foremost. Which if you're white doing that, obviously you're gonna get shit for it because that's race. That's a no-no. But when it's Indians, that's just their culture, I guess. I don't know. Kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Who else?
yeah,
Well,
and a
it's
lot of
hard to
the
prove because of the stat padding. That's all I want to say.
it's hard. It's like a lot of the Indian talk has like come. You know, it's like there's been a lot more of it because of the H-1B visas type stuff, and it's really shitty, man. Like, I mean, you're basically bringing people over, taking away from like American jobs and making indentured servitude, technocratic indentured servitude to foreigners, and the people have focused mainly on Indians. I mean, like, I think there's other people besides them that can get an H-1B or whatever, but it is pretty fucked up. Um, to do that, because they're just taking jobs from American citizens. They're getting way less of a wage than what they would be paying American citizens, and that's all they care about. They just don't want to pay, the actual wage to the workers.
Yeah,
So,
it's literally the most selfish thing these CEOs could possibly do. They're destroying this country for like a barely not, for just for some extra cash. Like they're annihilating this country. It's really really disgusting, really sad. And there's a special place in hell for the white CEOs that betray their race for this nonsense. Obviously, just for some
it
extra
was
money.
it was disgusting hearing Ramaswamy like say basically that, oh, it's not because we want these like higher profit margins, it's because Americans are lazy. Like, he's literally just like spitting on Americans by saying that shit. It's like, oh, we gotta talk, truthfully here. You guys are lazy and mediocre, and that's why we need to bring over these Indians or whoever else to take your jobs and work for like half the amount that you would be getting paid.
Which is
Engineer jobs too. It's fucking
which
crazy.
which isn't even true. Like, I think I read something. They're taught like JavaScript in school, right? Like a lot of them are just taught that early on. We don't get our school system. Yeah, that is the thing. Yeah, it actually affects pretty much everyone because, like I said, they are in like they're like truck drivers too now. Companies will just hire them because they're all coming in. They're easy to. I guess they're easy
Well,
to hire.
the issue I think is that when Ramaswamy says that the indigenous American is lazy, what he's describing is a phenomenon where the majority of employers simply do not pay a living wage anymore. And because of how the country is structured to ensure that certain other demographics don't riot in the streets, most people can fall back on Social Security and not have to work. So it's like if you have the option of busting your ass 40 hours a week working for somebody else to make their money and making however much money, but it's only a little bit more than what you would get in terms of social benefits not doing anything. Who the fuck would opt in to work to make a little bit more than what you would receive if you just accept food stamps and HUD and all the other good stuff and not work? Like, if that was my choice, I would not work. Why the fuck would I? I don't owe anybody anything. If you're gonna give me free stuff anyways, why bother?
Yeah,
So
especially
Ramaswamy identifies that, and then he says, well, let's import people who don't have the option, who the moment they stop working they go back to India where they really really don't want to be. Unfortunately he blames people for playing the rules of the game as opposed to the game, not having retarded rules to begin with.
yeah, it's literally just a black hole money pit. That's what welfare is. Food
A, a
stamps.
lot of a lot of people don't recognize this or like talk about it, but Indians are actually the third largest group of illegal immigrants in the United States. They're right under a million people in the United States, like right now. So I think a lot of
I
I
imagine they
think,
just don't leave.
yeah, and I think a lot of people conflate some of the jobs like that are like, oh, they're picking fruit or whatever else, like those jobs are probably being done by illegal immigrants that are Indians, right? I mean, there's a lot of them, so um, I don't know. It's a problem with immigration too.
Even as a little
Yeah,
kid. Oh, go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
I was just going to remark that the other there's tons of issues like with every facet of the country at this point, but one of the other issues with immigration is that as far as immigrants have a choice of entering the country as like from a spousal or like a family visa, you basically have two options. You can either stay outside the country and apply via embassy over multiple years to try and get in, or you can enter illegally and do adjustment of status. So a lot of illegal immigrants, even if we did have an influx of like European immigrants, there would still be a lot of illegal immigrants simply because that's the most direct way to get permanent citizenship in the United States is that you just come over and then you adjust the status. So everything is done ass backwards in terms of how the government's configured it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, they really. I mean, they'll have to. That's true, man. Like unless they enforce something or like try to make some big change, like really none of that is ever going to like alter in any way. It's a fucking mess. It's fucking
Can
terrible.
we
But
can we talk about the weird reincarnation thing they do too? Even as a little
yeah,
kid, I thought this was just bizarre. They like let rats run through the streets because they're afraid of I remember watching like a documentary when I was a little kid. Is that like true? Did they actually do that, or was that
It
is it?
Some of the temples do. I know that the monks, because there's two different religions that are popular in India. One of them is Buddhism, and the other one is Hinduism. Then there's Islam, which they all spit upon because the Mughals ruled over them for hundreds of years and raped them to death. So yeah, that's why there's Pakistan and shit. They moved all the Muslims there. The the, I want to say it's the Buddhists that believe in reincarnation. So when you go up to the Buddhist temples, the monks, they will literally sweep with a broom in front of where they walk because they don't want to step on any ants because the ants may be ancestors. And so the really hardcore people about it are super particular. But yeah, it depends on the region.
Jesus, like, it's just nasty. I mean, I could just imagine that. It's just a nasty country, man. What the fuck? The fuck is
it,
going on in India?
I mean, to be
overpopulation,
fair,
caste system. Go ahead, Josh.
the sweeping is at least like it's showing like courtesy to what they perceive as being potentially other people and stuff. So that's kind of endearing. It's the rats and the food that they won't get rid of is less endearing than the ants.
It's like ants don't have souls, man. They're like a nervous system. Little. They don't have brains. They don't have anything like that that could possibly con- contain that kind of, I don't know what you call it, life force. I'm not sure. It just seems ridiculous.
I don't know. Ants are pretty cool, man. Ants are actually one of the I think the only other uh like organism besides a human being that can perform surgery. Like if one of the ants breaks its leg or something, like they've actually like filmed them like performing surgery to like fix the leg or amputate it so they can move on.
But yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
cool when they're in groups, but like a single ant, I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine landing to protect that. It's just weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like this discussion is unbalanced. I need to say something negative about the African American folks because
So
otherwise we're just making fun of Indians.
so yeah, you lived in Serbia and the Eastern Europe for a very long time, since 2018, correct? So you haven't probably interacted with blacks up there either.
I lived in Australia, the Philippines, Ukraine, Serbia, and I've taken a lot of trips throughout Europe. There are not many black people in Eastern Europe, especially, but you do get tourists from Ethiopia, and they don't really cause any problems.
Interesting. So yeah, have you had any experience with black people at all since you've been back in the States, Josh?
Well, the ones in DC were really nice to me, so
Ah,
it's even. Well, though I will say that in DC, one of my first experiences was because the fucking airline lost my luggage for a day. I had to go get necessities, so I went to a CVS, and I was genuinely shocked that everything is behind a cage in CVS. Everything, all deodorants,
Yeah.
all body washes, all everything. Like it's literally without even hyperbole, it's like 8 rows of shit that's all behind glass, and you have to press a button. And then an Indian an Indian guy runs around, and he was like, "What do you need?" So I get shit, and I said, "Like, look, I need one of everything. So just come with me." And we went around, and he had to unlock like 5, 6 different fucking boxes so I can get shampoo and shit like that. Um, so they were nice to me, but the effects of where I was at is found. I will say this, and I think that this is really overlooked. I really believe that our social security system, in terms of food stamps and HUD, is basically a bribe. It's like a taxpayer bribe. Like if we didn't provide those necessities, those basic level foundations, to what is majority black recipients, there would be so much more economic violence in terms of like murder and like organized crime and drug money, armed robbery, that kind of stuff. So that's always been my biggest issue is how much it feels like our obscene, because even though I've been outside the United States, I'm an American citizen, which means that I pay federal income tax because I have to. Only country in the entire fucking world that operates that way. So my money has been going basically to pay a bribe back home that we're in understanding that you get food stamps to buy fried chicken with and HUD credits to live in under a roof and you don't burn down the city. And it feels like that social contract has been getting more and more violated over time.
Well, obviously, it's not sustainable at all. It's just like it's just delaying the inevitable, really. Like, you can't just dump money into a problem like this. This is a deep, very deep problem. If there's any chance we want to fix it, it's going to take some drastic measures. So,
Well, the fourth horseman comes in, and the fourth horseman is Medicare, Medicaid, and taxpayer funded abortions. And that's basically the only thing holding back the tide when it comes to that.
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like the Walgreens stuff too, or like the pharmacy, whatever, like people just stealing shit constantly, like really picked up as the inflation rate kind of grew. Like in 2022, I think it like peaked at like 8.4% or something. And during that time, like the last like 4 years, like there's got to be thousands of videos of just black people walking into these like pharmacies and stuff and just stealing everything, like anything they can get their hands on. I don't know if either of you know why they don't enforce that or like what. I mean, it just it's almost like a phenomenon. So like now everything, even like something that's like $5 or something, is like locked behind these like glass, containers where it has to be locked up, and you have to spend 10 minutes walking with like this like some person that doesn't want to be there to go pick up everything that you need. It's bizarre.
Sorry, I kind of cut out there for a second. Something happened.
Did I cut out?
It is
No, I might.
no.
This was my internet. It's
It
getting
is
windy.
genuinely weird to get culture shock like at your own country. The shit being locked up is definitely like a weird thing where it's just like I never remembered all this different stuff being behind bars.
Yeah, it wasn't
And
like
it
that.
is just necessities because people just can't afford it. And guess what? That's not that shit's not covered by food stamps. You can't buy fucking Axe body spray or whatever with the food stamps. So if you want it, you got to pay for it. And if it's like $8, and you can't afford that, then you can't afford it. You just got to walk out.
No,
Yeah.
sir. I will not get a job, sir. No job for me.
And I think the companies like they let it go for a long time, for a long, long time, but they just lost so much money. And a lot of the stores closed. If you live in like a city or something, like you'll probably know of like one or two stores that had to close just because people would just go in and just start stealing shit and keep, mostly black people would just go in and just start stealing shit off the shelves until they lost so much product that it wasn't profitable for them to even have the store anymore. So they had to shut it down.
One of the things that changed while I was abroad was that Walmart used to be 24/7 and now it's not. And people said that changed over COVID. And now that you say that, it makes me wonder if that's like a loss prevention thing, is not because you can't really prevent people from walking in at 4 a.m. and just walking out with shit. You don't have the staff to deal with that. You can't have 24/7 security and shit at a Walmart. So I wonder if
Yeah.
that is like they just realized that most of their thefts were occurring at like 4 a.m. So they're like, okay, well, we're just not going to open at 4 a.m. anymore.
Yeah, most of those stores, like any like home appliance store, like Home Depot or Lowe's, any of those things, like there was just so much theft, and it really, like I said, like it really took off when the inflation rate started to get insane in like 22, and I guess I don't think it's really stopped, but they just walk in, just like steal like a bunch of shit, and then just run out. Like it's just things weren't like that. Like I don't know. Prior to COVID, I guess. I don't remember it being such a prevalent thing at all.
Yeah, I get weird after COVID. I still
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, I remember seeing stuff. I remember like glass, like after COVID, when during the pandemic, there was like glass. Like the convenience store, they had like those glass things, but I never thought I'd get to the point with bars. Although I don't actually. The stores nearby where I live, we don't actually have like a lot of. We don't have a lot of that. They're pretty. It's pretty chill. So luckily, I don't have to deal with that. But yeah, in any major city like that, there's going to be stuff because that's basically what you have to do if you want to keep like an operating business. Like you're just going to have it open to everyone. It's going to get robbed. It's really kind of sick. This country is dying.
Yeah, it's what it feels like, honestly. Like when you go out, like maybe I'm just nihilistic. It could just be nihilism. I don't know. But that's what it feels like when if I go out and go to these stores and you see everything behind these it just feels like it's like fuck, man. It does feel like it just feels like a slow death or something.
Yeah, it's just not sustainable. There's no way this is going to work forever. We're going to see some severe decay in the next few decades. Probably the next decade.
Well, that might be a good thing. I once heard an anecdote about Franco's Spain because Franco was like the last fascist dictator in Europe, and I've heard stories about how because he aligned with Hitler during World War II, he was basically cut off from the world order. Same time, people were apparently quite happy during his reign. And I wonder if an economic downturn will purge the U.S. of economic migrants, and things will normalize more on their own because they're here for money, and so if there's
Yeah.
no money, they leave. People keep talking about Mexico's economic miracle, how they're building canals and shit, and it's like great, wonderful. I hope the best for India and Africa and Mexico because if there's a day where the United States is quite poor, you might think, hey, Mexico sounds pretty nice. Hey, what the fuck? Pradesh and India sounds really nice right now. And Africa sounds great. Look at all these wonderful Chinese built monuments in Africa. I want to go live there. And then they leave. I think that might happen. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
Who is
Yeah.
Bosch's Goblin Stash? I'm tempted to make him a speaker just because of that name alone. All right, might as well get another line here. This is the thing I wanted to do, kind of just ask people their experiences.
Josh, do you think that they're going to do any of the stuff that Trump has like laid out as far as like getting ICE and like sending illegal immigrants back to the country? Do you think they're actually going to roll that out, or is it going to be like an H-1B thing where they just totally U-turn on it now that they have the election and just say fuck it?
I had some friends that were waiting for stuff from the Department of State in regards to immigration because they were coming over from Eastern Europe, and they had been waiting for a year to hear back from the Department of Homeland Security. Sorry, the Department of Homeland Security in regards to immigration, and right after, literally the week that Trump won, they all got their cards. So I think that as soon as Trump won, the Department of Homeland Security just started churning that shit out to every single applicant that was waiting still for like an adjustment of status. And that I think that's specifically to make it harder for Trump, obviously, to deport people. Um, it is possible. It is possible he'll do what he says. He didn't really do too much of what he said in his first one in terms of stuff like that. Not to say he didn't have a, not to say that Biden's term was better than Trump's, but because it most certainly was not. Um, uh, I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say yeah because the guy he picked for the border czar, they call him, that guy seems fucking nuts. In
He
a good
does. He
way.
seems fucking
He's good
insane.
takes. He's some good takes. I agree with. I will say this about Biden's term, though. In a way, there was one thing it was better at for than Trump's was. It was at radicalizing people. Making people more racist. Because with Trump, you're still getting these absolute scumbags in office and whatnot. People who have like no interest in this country. But with the Biden administration, at least it was like all like it was troons. It was like all these like obviously gross people that were making people angry. So it was kind of good for that. So and I fear like Trump being in office for 4 more years, it's gonna like soften the right up. Like this isn't my take. Like there are other people who think this. It's just Yeah, it's just kind of depressing. Like, I don't think we're winning. I think this is bad. I don't think the right's
Well,
winning because of this.
the I reiterate this anytime I have the opportunity, so I apologize if I've said this before, but the number one issue that is facing people on the right is that there is top down censorship of the right coming from financial systems. And when Trump was in office, the Office of the Controller of Currency attempted to pass a fair access to financial services regulation that would require all banks and all financial services to give everybody equal access until there was a reason not to. And the very first week of Joe Biden's administration, the new controller of currency permanently paused this rule, so it never took effect.
Oh yeah, I
I,
remember that.
if if this rule is put into effect and people have access to payment processors again, then you would see monetization of ideas that currently cannot be monetized. And when people, and it's as simple as that. It's like, how do you want to how do they fight terrorism overseas these days? They fucking sanction people. They take away their money. They don't have their money. They can't do anything. It's the same way with fighting extremism or undesirables in the United States. How do you take away? How do you take the fight of the dog? You make sure that he can't afford to feed himself doing what he does. So I think that if Trump, if he does nothing else but make it so that everybody has access to payment processors or create some way to circumvent the payment processors that's accessible to everybody, we would see a resurgence in the right wing that you can't even imagine.
I agree. Actually, yeah, that would help a lot. I hope he does that. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have much faith. Has he said he's going to do that at all? Has he like made any
Yes,
hints?
I've heard. I've
Really?
seen. I mean, his previous controller of currency took the action during his administration, far too late, but during his administration. And I think I've seen Elon and Joe Rogan both indicate that this is a big deal. And I want to say I heard something from Trump himself. So I'm super fingers crossed because just to give you a allegory you might appreciate, during the outbreak of World War II, the most pro-German spokesperson in the United States was a guy called Charles Coughlin, who was a Canadian-born friar in the United States, and he basically founded conservative talk radio. He was one of the first political speakers on the radio waves, and FDR fucked this guy over. He took away his ability to collect money. He took away his ability to use the postal service and basically just made it so that it was impossible for him to make a living doing what he did until he just gave up. And that's effectively what they've tried to replicate through the banks these days. Is they've tried to make it so that nobody can actually earn a living talking about the things that's important to them, even if other people want to hear them.
Yeah, FDR was definitely one of the probably the worst president in U.S. history. I'd say he definitely fucked up this country beyond repair. An interesting cabinet he had too. A lot of them, well, let's just say a lot of them were part of a tribe we all know. I don't want to get banned, obviously, but we know who they are. We know.
Yeah, and I think Trump. I did see him say some things about how censorship of like of certain people being like political ideologies or anything like that needs to be stopped and things of that nature. It does really worry me though, like this H-1B thing, to see that they kind of like won the election and then Elon's able to just if he's getting pushback on this visa thing, he can just ban you or whatever else and then won't address anything. And kind of, I mean, you're still able to have like open conversations, but it does kind of worry me that they could just say like, well, fuck you, basically, and then just whatever, and then hope that it's not, people don't care as much or they'll just accept it. It feels like they might do that, but I'm
I
not
mean, it
sure.
gets me a little hopeful. I just look in Trump's like replies, and it's people just shitting on him, complaining about the H-1 visa thing. But I just don't know if they're gonna care. It's like we won already. Like Trump isn't even gonna have to run for re-election. He's getting out. Obviously, he'll probably endorse someone who he'll have an interest in winning. But yeah, it just feels like a giant fuck you to the people who
Yeah.
voted for him. It doesn't feel. It's really scummy. Uh, it's just really just don't trust politicians like that. They're never going to help you.